I, 29 male, am gay. Up until last week I hadn't told my family. I think my family always suspected, but they never asked because being gay isn't approved of in our family. I have 3 sisters, 36 Michelle, 35 Julia, and 22 Annie. I've been dating Peter for a few months but haven't told my family. Michelle got married last week. During the reception, many people were making toasts, including my father. He said, "I finally have my first son-in-law, and hopefully I will have 2 more. Maybe someday even a daughter-in-law if Sissy Pants here mans up and gets a girlfriend." Everyone laughed except Julia. After the toast and before dinner, Julia came over and asked me if I was okay. I was sad and didn't hide it all that well. I said I was okay. Dad's comment just bugged me. She said to try and let it go for now, and I did. During dinner, there were many tables and my immediate family was at one. My father asked me if I had a girlfriend already, if I would give him grandkids, etc. I brushed it off, then Michelle, who just came by the table to ask my mom something, said, "Well, I can hook you up with a bridesmaid if you want to, unless you're wired the wrong way." Julia rolled her eyes. Then my mom said, "Maybe you should have that girl, bridesmaid, come over here. He needs to be with a woman at his age." I just lost it and said, "Actually, Mom, I'm gay." The whole table went silent, some other people heard too, and Michelle started crying, saying I ruined her wedding with my awful confession. Most of my family says I'm an idiot for saying it then, but Julia is on my side and said she's perfectly fine with me being gay, and if our family didn't want to hear it, they should have stayed quiet. Am I the idiot for ruining Michelle's wedding? Not the idiot. Oh dear God, you did not come out at her wedding. You were literally pushed into a corner until you snapped. Julia sounds like a great sister. I hope you have a great circle of friends and your partner's family to love and accept you for who you are. I agree. I think the family suspected OP was gay because their phrasing and comments were oddly specific. So they basically set him up for this and blame him for it. If anything, it's OP's dad that ruined the wedding. He made his speech about hoping his other kids will be in relationships soon. Then he and Mom pushed OP into dating someone he probably has never met or is acquaintances with. And Michelle is upset at OP? So weird. Exactly this. I got married this year. If my dad had used his toast to insult another member of the family, regardless of who it was and whether I thought it was justified, I would have been furious at him for using my wedding as a venue to air grievances and start drama. I think some bridezilla behaviour would honestly be justified in this situation, but it was aimed at completely the wrong target. You are the idiot. The fact is, you took the attention off the wedding couple. It would be best if you had brushed off the prodding because it's obvious this teasing was nothing new. You're 29. I'm sure you've thought about it before at family events. Why didn't you tell them years before the wedding? I get that they pressed you into snapping, but man, you had many years before to come out. You could have come out any time. Instead, you chose your sister's day to do this. Michelle could have changed the subject or told her family, "Hey, let's not get into all this at my wedding, please," and they probably would have listened because of the bride. So I'm not real sympathetic with her theory that OP ruined her wedding by only suffering in silence for the first hour or whatever, instead of for the whole thing. I get the feeling that they absolutely knew he's gay. Sissy Pants is a pretty dead giveaway, and thought they could get away with being particularly mean given the occasion. And there's no way he could clap back without them saying he ruined the wedding. So a lose-lose for him either way. OP, you were bullied and you snapped. They don't get to blame your reaction to their behaviour. I would let everyone know you will be low to no contact with everyone except Julia until they learn how to be supportive family. I'm a college student living with my parents for the summer. Typically, I live on my own on-campus apartment, but my university closed my apartment building for sanitary reasons. So I've been living here since early May and contributing. I pay a third of the rent and utilities while also picking up the chores I used to do. One of my biggest problems living here so far is privacy. Growing up, I had no privacy from my dad. He believes since he pays the bills, he has free access to anywhere in the house. Growing up, he never knocked, would come into the bathroom while I was in it, and never let me feel any semblance of privacy. I've talked to him many times about it, but he's been refusing. So the compromise we reached is that he'd knock to tell me he's coming in, so he'll knock then immediately throw the door open. I can't stand this. The number of times I've been caught naked by my parents as a grown man is ridiculous. So I decided that I would do something about it. My door has never been able to lock. My dad took it out when we moved to this house maybe 8 years ago. I fixed this. I found a way to change the door handle and fix the locking mechanism for my door. The next time he tried to come in, he knocked twice and then immediately tried to open the door but couldn't. I could hear him messing with the handle before asking if the door was locked. I told him I fixed the lock on the door. Then he started yelling at me through the door. Typical parent crap. I'm letting you live here, this is my house, and you do not lock doors in my house. This led to a massive argument through the door. The next time I come home from work, my door is completely off the hinges. So now I have literally no privacy in my room. My mum and older sister said I should have just learned to live with this as it is his house. Am I the idiot? Holy crap, not the idiot. I would stop giving them money. You pay rent. Of course you have a right to lock your door. If possible, find a different place to stay. You don't want to live like this. When you get your own place, have rules for your father and see how he likes it, in your home. Landlords can't just let themselves in whenever they feel like it, even though you're renting their space. I don't know how your home situation is, but it doesn't sound great, and part of me says, stop paying since he won't treat you like an adult. And the other part of me just says, keep your head down until you can move out. But privacy is not something to be earned. Your dad sounds like a controlling jerk, and I'm sorry you have to live like that. Your dad is a massive idiot with a power problem. His refusal to respect you, not just respect your privacy, but respect you, is a real issue. It's not normal and it's not okay. It probably isn't going to get any better. The spiteful part of me that you absolutely should not listen to says, when you find a new place to live, take the front door, toilet door, and bedroom door with you. My fiancé's brother, Chris, moved to Mississippi from our hometown 2 years ago to be with some girl he met on the internet. Chris has always been the type to make terrible life choices, and my fiancé is always the one who bails him out, except for my future mother-in-law. My fiancé does this because he has survivor's guilt. They lived with their father growing up, and their father hated Chris with a burning passion for whatever reason, but loved my fiancé, Heath. So Heath saw a lot. Yes, they both got out physically, but mentally Chris was ruined. He refuses therapy, gets into trouble constantly, etc. He's 33 and my fiancé is 28. So when Chris left to go to Mississippi, I worked 70 hours a week at the hospital while Heath stayed home with the kids. He had no income, but he was a stay-at-home dad and this worked for us. However, I started noticing money going missing quite often. When I checked the bank statements, Heath handled them because he was an accountant for a couple of years and better at budgeting, I noticed a crap ton of Amazon purchases and money transfers through Facebook Pay. When I confronted him, he told me his brother and the chick didn't work out, so he was helping him with like hotel stays, food, essentials, etc. It's important to note that during this time, I was angry because of how much money was being spent and limited him on what he could send his brother a month because it's not my responsibility. So I didn't make him stop, but limited him. Well, budget cuts went through my hospital 2 months ago and I was cut, along with 340 other employees. 4 wings were closed down, mine being one of them. So I'm currently unemployed. Heath constantly works now. I also just got my taxes back. We have 3 kids. I got a big chunk of money. Last night, Chris called and Heath shut the bedroom door. I assume because the kids were being loud. But I walked in roughly 10 minutes later and saw Heath had my debit card in hand, typing in the information on Amazon to buy his brother over $400 worth of crap. Books, board games, playing cards, etc. Nothing he needed. I ripped the debit card out of his hand and asked him what he's doing. And he looks at me like I'm an idiot and asks why I thought I had the nerve to do that. I told him I was not dishing out $400 worth of crap to his brother, and he went, "My brother has nothing to do, and this is the only way I can help," and said since I got a crap ton of money, I should be willing to help, especially considering he gets his paycheck Friday and can make up for it. I still said no. He's now saying I'm a controlling idiot. Not the idiot. You need to have a hard talk with your soon-to-be husband. He needs to stop this behavior or you walk. That money could have been put towards your kid's future instead of giving it to your brother-in-law to set on fire. If he can't see the error in his ways, it's a marriage ender. It's so crazy to me that he's blowing cash on board games and stuff because his brother is bored. Is he in prison or something? Can he not get a job to help with boredom, buying and pointless crap himself? It's maddening. You're not an idiot. He can't blow dinner funds on card games. You have kids to feed, and Chris? He's not one of them. Chris and his girlfriend sound like lazy leeches. They should get off their butts and find work, even if it means moving to another state. Your fiancé should not be enabling them to sit on their butts with nothing to do. In your place, I would dump Heath and file charges against him. I'd also tally up how much money he's taken from you and file in small claims court to get it back. I'm getting married early September and I've picked my bridal party. One of my bridesmaids is my sister. My sister has an entirely different style than me. I'm following this clean girl and glam style, but my sister is that type of girl out style. She has light pink hair, a nose ring and multiple earrings, and she's also got sleeve tattoos on her arms, neck and chest. My sister's appearance always troubled me regarding her being a bridesmaid. I've set rules for all bridesmaids, but some specifically about my sister. First of all, I set a specific budget I expect them to spend for the bachelorette party. I gave them a choice to hire their own makeup artists and stylists, but I requested a specific kind of hairstyle and makeup. They'd also pay for their dresses. All of that is very common and nobody complained. When I heard complaints, though, was when I presented some rules specifically for my sister. For example, I told her she'd have to buy body makeup and cover up the tattoos. I also told her to remove her nose ring and most of her earrings and only keep the normal earrings. And I told her to dye her hair a natural colour, at least for the wedding festivities, such as the bachelorette and the actual wedding. The bridesmaid's dress clashes with my sister's image, and she's going to look really out of place with all the tattoos, piercing and hair with that dress. She told me she wouldn't do any of it, and I tried to beg her to do it for me, her sister, and how happy it would make me. She told me my happiness shouldn't depend on making her change her style and be someone else to fit my aesthetic wedding. I told her people make sacrifices for weddings and how many people might be uncomfortable or sad they have to follow certain rules, but they still do it out of love and respect for the couple getting married. She said no and that she'll drop out if I was not okay with this. I got very angry. She started holding it against me and I didn't want her to drop out, but I wished for her to make this one-time thing work. My mom and dad surprisingly sided with her, and they don't usually do that. My fiancé is on my side and believes my sister is an entitled brat, but my parents siding with her really made me question whether I'm the idiot. You are the idiot. It's not like your sister randomly started being out last week. You knew she had tattoos, dyed hair, etc. when you asked her to be your bridesmaid. So why would you ask her if you were going to make her change everything about herself? You love the idea of having your sister in your wedding. If you loved your sister, you wouldn't be singling her out amongst your other bridesmaids and demanding she change half of the things she probably thinks makes her her. Oh hey Bridezilla, how's it going? Hard, you are the idiot. If this is an issue, you shouldn't have asked her to be in the bridal party. The person who sounds like a brat and entitled is you. She is who she is. If she doesn't fit your ideal, you can't go about making up rules to make her conform. She's not a doll that you can play dress up with. She has feelings, autonomy, and a firm sense of self that won't be crippled by some weird sense of another person's fantasy. Yeah, I get that it's your day, but you took it to a level of epic proportions to just know. When you love someone, you respect them. I don't see any respect in what you're asking your sister to do. OP, get over yourself. Your wedding may be the most important day ever for you, but it's not for everyone. Your sister is a human being, not an accessory or decoration. She shouldn't have to change so many things to fit the aesthetic of your wedding. Mother-in-law and I have always disagreed about a lot of things. She would try to get involved in any decision regarding my son's teen, school choice, activities, interests, etc. When I disagree with her, she will get my son indirectly involved. I sucked it up for the sake of my family and my husband, but 2 weeks ago my son had a football game. I came to watch the game, but my husband couldn't because he was busy. Mother-in-law knew about the event and came to watch, but what she did was sit on the opposing team's side instead of my son's. My son noticed, his friends and playmates noticed, and even his coach noticed. I was stunned, especially after I texted her asking why, and she said that she was upset with me over some disagreement. I talked to my son, who was so upset and mad. He said his friends saw what Grandma did and made fun of him. Even his coach told him to tell his grandma the next time she came she better sit on the right side. I confronted her later at her house and she picked an argument with me, saying I get zero say in how she supports her grandson and cannot tell her where to sit and act. I told her that she's no longer allowed to attend any of my son's sporting events if this is how she chooses to act. She got upset and called my husband. He came and was livid at me for telling her she was banned from attending our son's games and told me I was being too controlling and that I wanted to rule everyone around me. He told me she's his grandma and her attending his games is a way of bonding, and I can't take that away from them. My son keeps staying in his room, refusing to see or talk to anybody, not even his friends. You are the idiot. Your son's friends and teammates and coach all know what your grandmother looks like and notice she sat in the wrong place. How would they even notice in the middle of focusing on the game? This sounds like a significant exaggeration. If the son is really upset, which I doubt, then OP needs to talk to the son about his reaction. She may have been wearing their team colours, so if she was sitting amongst the opposite team's fans and their colours, she would be pretty easy to spot. How can it be a bonding experience when she's sitting on the opposing team's side? What was he supposed to think? Not many people in the comments seem to understand what it means to sit on the opposing team's side. By sitting on either side, you're showing who you support. I'm willing to bet his teammates' teasing went a little like this. Ha ha, you're so bad even your grandma roots against you. Everyone's the idiot here. The adults are behaving like a bunch of immature kids having a spat. You literally cannot ban her from the games unless you have some means to exclude mother-in-law from school property. And that is a nuclear option, to be clear. Neither you nor mother-in-law seems to have any interest in de-escalating this conflict. Instead, you escalated this into an even bigger dispute, and that is absolutely not in your son's welfare. That's about your grudge with mother-in-law.